All right, I've been getting reports from people just telling me that their cancer rates are going way up and a lot of people are getting cancer. So I'm looking into it. All right, I got this plus a bunch of other people have been talking to me about these cancers and so forth. This is about Australia. And they're talking about early onset cancers. There's been a rise in certain cancers, Australians, in the 30s and 40s. Well, that's very young. In prostate, pancreatic, and liver cancers. For example, early onset prostate has increased by 500%. You got to look into this. That's not just an accident. Bowel cancer. These things, I think I understand what's going on here. Has one of the highest rates of young onset bowel cancer in the world. It's the deadliest form of cancer for those aged 25 to 44. That's young. And they go on and on about this, but the whole world is increasing in cancers, and they're getting younger and younger. And as far as I'm concerned, and this is just observation, I'm not telling anybody to take anything or do anything or not do anything. In the chemistry of biology, not one single thing happens. Zero. No chemical activity whatsoever happens in your body to facilitate biology without an enzyme. You have to have an enzyme. Every enzyme requires a bacteria. We need to find out what bacteria are missing, because some kind of bacteria is going to be missing. They would have created the enzyme to keep you from getting cancer, because something is invading and creating a cancer. Cancer is a growth, a tumor, basically. It's an invasion into your vital flesh. All right, 500% is a lot. Prostate contributes to semen by producing, sperm, by producing a fluid. It contains enzymes, zinc, and citric acid. The other one, pancreatic cancer, that's from your pancreas is the major source of enzymes. So in the pancreas, there's all kinds of bacteria living in the pancreas, and they create enzymes and they send them throughout the body, and that's another major problem. And the bowel, which is where the enzymes are supposed to go to protect you and to digest, they're not working there. I'm going to tell you right now, almost every one of these people are going to have some kind of an issue, have some kind of gut distress. And it gets worse and worse. You have bloating, you have gas, you have nausea, you're vomiting, you can't digest. And that's because you don't have the bacteria to get the enzymes to do the digestion. It's really not that hard to understand. All right, most cancer grows tumors. Let's just go with the tumor type of cancer. And metastasis means they spread cancer cells, which are these growing little tumor cells, to distant parts of the body. So they start over here and then they just go somewhere else. The process often involves invasion of surrounding tissues, intravasitation, entering the bloodstream or lymphatic system, so the little bits and pieces go, and then extravasitation, exiting the bloodstream or lymphatic system to anchor somewhere to start growing. That's what they think metastasis is. Well, that's possible. It's also possible that when that cancer grows in that one place, because you don't have the bacteria there, you're most likely not going to have the bacteria somewhere else. So it can start growing somewhere else quite easily if it doesn't have the right bacteria and enzymes. That is what it would appear to be. You have to have the right enzymes, and if you don't have them here, they're not going to be over there, because the whole thing is one big, huge, fluid-filled highway. And I learned that back in 2015 or so, or even earlier than that, working with people in Germany that claimed in their fascia they could find tattoo residue inside, well, not inside, but in the membranes of organs like liver or kidneys or whatever. I can't remember what it was, but they could see this tattoo ink had worked its way through the whole body and was in the membrane only. So they realized it floated through the fascia, which is the membrane system. Okay, my outstanding friends, things just keep getting crazier and crazier. I wrote this paper back in 2017 about the effect of transition metals in the body. And I related to the body saying that this research looks at humans as a literal animated chemical factory. It's a true industrial complex. We call it an organism. We are industrial complexes. We have workers that do everything inside of this factory. We're just a factory. The human body is just a factory. Everything else that's done in it is done by bacteria, basically. I'm going to show you. It's a revelation that blows my mind, but it's a true revelation. These factory workers are being killed because they're bacteria, they're little biology. And the more we invade and beat them up and kill them and give them toxins, they're dying, these little bacteria that live in us to create the enzymes. We can get new workers. We don't want to assault our bodies, but once they have been assaulted and they killed off the workers, we just got to put new workers in there. Who were the workers? They're not just going to show up automatically. We have to bring them back into the organism, which is our industrial complex, human body. All right, this is Johns Hopkins. And they're talking about the role of your pancreas. The digestive process. What is the role of your pancreas in digestion? What does it do? Your pancreas plays a big role in digestion. It's located inside your abdomen, just behind your stomach. It's about the size of your hand. During digestion, your pancreas makes pancreatic juices called enzymes. It doesn't make them. Bacteria make them. The bacteria live in the pancreas. This is what I want to find out. So, but these enzymes break down sugars, fats, starch. They break down everything. Pancreas also helps your digestive system by making hormones. It makes all kinds of things, but it doesn't make them. I don't believe it's a factory to create these products. And it's for everything. The enzymes break down all these different things. Your pancreas helps digestive system make hormones. They're chemical messengers. They travel through your blood. Actually, more travel through your lymphatic system. Pancreatic hormones help regulate your blood sugar levels and appetite, stimulate stomach acids, tell your stomach when to empty. Pancreatic enzymes. It goes on and on and on. Your pancreas creates natural juices. Lipase, protease, amylase. All these ases means they're enzymes. All of this is done by your pancreas. So, and it all can, diabetes, pancreatic cancer. All right, now this is Johns Hopkins. I took a course at Johns Hopkins for genomics. But anyway, this is, I believe I understand what's going on now. And it's all related to missing bacteria. Miss the bacteria, you miss the enzymes. You miss the enzymes, you cannot do the chemistry required to break things down and to build things up. Very, very simple. When you right down to the thing that starts the whole process is the bacteria. You get exposed to all kinds of bacteria when you're little. You're supposed to. And they're supposed to build in you and program your bacteria to recognize those things and keep them away from you. Some kids don't have any immunities at all to speak of. They're being kept clean, which is good. I'm not saying good dirtier. I'm not saying anything. Don't do whatever you want. I have no dog in this race. All right, it's up to you. But I'm just showing you what I have found, and I have been looking into this as deep as anybody, I think. And if anybody's got any arguments about the things I'm saying, I'm not saying do this or don't do that. I'm just saying this is my observations, working with people, looking at people, reading the papers, and I do. I'm not just guessing. These are cancer rates going up, and yes, cancer rates are globally on the rise. This is ATP phase. Remember I talked about enzymes. It catalyzes for ATP. Now there's one that they never been paying attention to is GTP. GTPase are enzymes. These do the electrical activity in your body. All right? They're crucial for various cellular signaling. These are switches, and that's the way they see them, as switches. They're chemistry that works in your wiring, basically, of your body. And then you need energy to make these things happen. And that's the ATP phase. That's the enzymes that do, these are very, very crucial for energy. They're the energy powerhouse of the cell, energy currency of the cell. They do everything. You don't have that, you're done. You fall over dead instantly almost. Okay, my friends, let me just lay out some ground rules. Bacteria, you see that? That's a bacteria. And it creates all these little blue balls in here. They're called ribosomes. Now, those little balls get squirted out as it lives in this fluid-filled highway. All right, so you got your bacteria, and it's living in this area here, creating enzymes, which are those ribosomes, into that fluid-filled highway. Those can attack invaders. So in order to get invaded, it's got to come through here and break through this upper layer of membrane. And now they're starting to understand exactly that. It's the upper layer of membrane that gets penetrated, causes all kinds of ATP problems. And bacteria dying in here because they get invaded by whatever's coming through here that's not being stopped. It's supposed to be stopped before it breaches the upper membrane, and it's not doing that. So, and why is that? It's because you don't have the enzyme, which is the ribosome, in that layer to fight it. Enzymes are killers, absolute killers. And they're both from the same ribosome. Different bacteria. You got thousands. And they say there's at least 75,000 different bacteria living in us right now. Different species. And they squirt out different types of ribosomes. Some ribosomes are enzymes and they break things. All right, so the ribosome comes out, gets triggered by something, the sheath comes off, so it's like this. This is what came out of that bacteria. And it's floating around, everything's good, something triggers it. The sheath goes flying, and this comes out, and it has an exact molecular signature, and then it does what's called click chemistry. It goes around, click, 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 killing things. Just like that, because of all of those dipole molecular moment signatures inside that structure. All right. Also, it can create proteins, which are building blocks. They're not as complicated, and they build things. So they're both. Are they enzymes or proteins? No, they're both. There's enzymes and proteins. Both come from ribosomes, and both come from bacteria, which create those ribosomes. So the ball comes out. When it gets triggered, they just lay around. They actually say there's millions of those balls in one single cell. They just hang around in there, and they're ready to do their job. And there's so many different ribosomes, like I said, 75,000 different bacteria species. So maybe some of all of them are in some of these cells. I don't know. This kind of work has not been done, I don't think. We need to get a database, and we need to analyze what's in cells in different places in the body, because your kidneys have to be protected different than your liver or your heart or your lungs. They all have different chemistry and different enzymes because they have different bacteria that create those different enzymes. And if you don't have the enzymes, you will not get the chemistry done. All right, if you've been around me, you know this is my theory, is dipole electron flood theory, where the dark part of the particles coalesce in the core, surrounded by the white particles, which are the pure light and the pure energy. They are electricity. but they come packaged as dipoles. And this is very simple. It's a few minutes and you can understand the whole thing. Very simple. That's the only two things that exist are the black and the white. I'm going to show you in our light experiments. And there's going to be changes to the standard, well, it changes the whole standard model, well, more or less. And then there's going to be some serious changes to all the sciences based on the fact that they never knew how anything was even constructed. And a lot of it has to do with enzymes and how it affects the human body, how quickly these things can reconfigure and go through what is called nucleosynthesis, which means enzymes can take that particle, which they say is almost indestructible, and go and change that in 1 second and have a whole brand new thing from an enzyme. They missed the boat on the enzymes. All right, this is kind of interesting. This is what just popped up. Scientists discover natural compounds that clear Alzheimer's proteins. So I look into this. And if this is right, this is very interesting. It says that reversing cellular decline. You have to clear out the trash that's in your body, and something has to go and break it down. And those are these bacterial enzymes. Now, as you age, they just don't do it as well. When aged neurons, or brain cells, basically think of it that way, were treated for just 24 hours with nicotine amide and epiglycetine gallate, GTP levels were restored to those typically seen in younger cells. 24 hours hitting it with this particular set of compounds restored these GTP levels. Well, what the hell is GTP level in the first place? But it's seen in the younger cells. Now, there's another thing called ATP, and all of this stuff is in metabolism and cascading benefits and oxidative stress reduced, and all of this stuff. Does this study highlights GTP, a previously underappreciated energy source, driving vital brain functions. Sometimes the chemistry in your brain, because of the brain barrier and all that stuff, is different than it is lower in your body, below the brain barrier, and that might be the case here, because ATP, I'm sure, is everywhere through the body, but ATP is associated to GTP. All right, I just did one on ATP, but GTP is a similar situation. It's crucial for various cellular processes. And they say elevated levels they think are associated with certain diseases, and that may be true. Decreased levels can impact cellular functions and even trigger starvation responses. So they regulate all kinds of stuff. That's the GTP. Well, what does ATP do? We know, you should know by now, ATP is the primary currency for energy in your whole body. It does everything. It breaks down things, it builds things, it contracts your muscles, it transports things, it biosynthesis, which means it makes the products that biology needs and synthesizes them, protein synthesis, movement of molecules across membranes. I mean, this is it. ATP is the key. And I talked about ATP, and what creates ATP is some kind of bacteria. We have to figure out what the bacteria are, and there's going to be some other chemistry involved with this. There's coenzymes, they call them. We're looking for enzymes, first of all, from living bacteria. If you kill the bacteria, you're not going to have the enzymes. And we could do a bacterial analysis, full spectrum, to see what's normal and what isn't normal. That should not be a major factor. But the GTP is related to the ATP. All right, they both are. They're not the same and have distinct roles in cellular energy and signaling. Well, ATP widely recognized as the primary energy currency. GTP also plays a crucial role, partially in energy transfer within the cell and in various cellular processes. That may be, the electrolyte, basically. You got energy, which is electricity, ATP, that's the energy. It's like the electric energy of your body. GTP not the energy, but basically it's the wiring. It's the fluid that makes the energy flow. Let's say, and that's possible, because these are all, a lot of this stuff has to do with emotions and moving your arms and legs and all that kind of stuff, muscle contractions. All of that stuff is done by chemistry. There's just no other way to do it. It just doesn't happen. And the chemistry is all done by the enzymes, and the enzymes are all created by the bacteria. And if the bacteria is not well and living in those regions that it should live in, whoops, you see that? Look at that. That's Saturn. I'm working with some people around the world that are doing things just unbelievable. What is it? Hold on one second. Okay, in my opinion, this is not true. They're saying that not all enzymes in humans are from bacterial cells. Humans produce their own enzymes. No, a bacteria produces it in an organ in the body which exudes these enzymes. They're proteins that act as catalysts for various biochemical reactions in the body. The body creates the organs. The organs are flooded with these bacteria that create the enzymes. However, bacteria reside in our bodies, particularly in the gut microbiome, also produce enzymes. The microbial enzymes play a crucial role in health by assisting with everything. Digestion, breaking down everything, carbohydrates, dietary fibers. People that are allergic to things, they don't have something to break it down. Nutrient absorption, you have to have the breakdowns of all these things very, very fast. And the only thing that can do it is the enzymes. Vitamin synthesis, that's the breakdown to give you the products to be reassembled. Therefore, while humans rely on their own internally produced enzymes, no, and there are factories inside your body which are called organs that have bacteria in them. If the bacteria is not there, you don't get the enzymes. But the organs there is the producer of a factory, and the bacteria house in there and make the enzymes. And they make various bodily functions. The enzymes produced by the gut complement and enhance these processes, particularly in digestion and nutrient metabolism. Literally all enzymes are a product of some form of bacterial intervention. All right, just take it for that. I believe that's a true statement.